I'm going on a business trip to New York for a week starting tomorrow. It's a sudden decision, a request from an important business partner of the company, and I can't miss it. I wonder if Ramy will be okay with me suddenly being gone for a week. He's already in the 3rd grade, he can take care of himself. Well, that's not what I meant. I worry. Will my son's heart be okay after spending a week alone with me, whom he does not trust? After a day's work, I returned home. I'm home. I'm hungry, I'll prepare dinner now. Usually, there has yet to be a reply. Mom, my name is Enya, and I'm a very active career woman working for an IT company. By chance, I met my husband Walter, a divorced man with a child, at work, and we have been together for about a year, married. Walter has a 3rd grade son, Schmidt, from a previous marriage. My parents were not very enthusiastic about my marrying a divorced man with a child, and at first they were opposed to the idea. Why did he divorce his previous wife? I heard that his wife left him after she had a man. It's possible that Walter was the reason she finally found another man and left him. No way, that's not true, not even for Walter. He is desperately raising his son with his own hands. If Walter was the cause, wouldn't his wife have taken him? That may be so. Love is blind, isn't it? Without giving up, I earnestly tried to persuade my parents it was worth it, and they finally agreed to the marriage. Once married, life began. I was very busy with housework and work. As I had lived my whole life with my job, I found the housework very difficult. Since I could not get close to my son, I began to think that it might be better for me to quit my job and join my family. When I talked to my husband about it, he responded, "What? Why? I can't spend as much time with Schmidt when I'm working. First, it might be a good idea to make an effort to get closer to Schmidt." I see, but you don't have to quit your job. You have worked hard, and it would be a shame to throw away your career. What? I don't know about that. I'm not sure if my income is enough for Schmidt's tuition and fees. I guess so. We have to save money for school expenses. We need to start saving now, little by little. So, we decided to continue working together. I had purchased a condominium when I was single, and after marriage, my husband and stepson moved in. The mortgage and utilities for the condo are paid out of my paycheck, out of necessity, as they are deducted from my account. At first, my husband put money into the house for monthly expenses, but after a year, he somehow stopped. Isn't it, Enya? I'm sorry, but last month I bought so many drinks for my juniors that I ran out of money. Don't you have to buy them drinks so much that you run out? I know, but I need to keep my position as a senior. It's usual. I ran out of money to put into the house when I went on a spending spree and made a deposit from my son's future school fees. As for my stepson Schmidt, although I had seen him several times before we were married, he was always depressed and would not look at me. No matter what I tried to talk to him, he was silent. How can I bring our hearts closer together? He eats my food every day without complaining, but as soon as he finishes eating, he retreats to his room. Even now, a year later, there is no sign that he likes me at all. I have tried to talk to my husband about it, but he always brushes it off. Does Schmidt not like me? Huh? I don't think so. Why? It's been a year since we started living together, but he doesn't talk to me at all. Then I see. I guess he's at that age. Just leave him alone. Every day passed with no solution in sight. Recently, I was also concerned that my husband was coming home late. However, I was so busy with my daily life that I did not have time to talk to him. Then, one day, he suddenly told me that he was going on a business trip the next day. I'm going on a business trip to New York for a week starting tomorrow. What? That's sudden and for a week? It was a sudden decision, a request from an important business partner of the company, and I need to. I'm not asking you not to go. I'm just surprised at how sudden it is. I wonder if Ramy will be okay if you are suddenly gone for a week. He's in the 3rd grade now. He can take care of himself. Well, that's not what I meant. Anyway, I have an early start tomorrow, so I'm going to bed. Good night. Good night. He suddenly told me that he was going on a business trip the next day. I worried. Will my son's heart be okay spending a week alone with me, whom he doesn't trust? But my husband didn't seem to get the message. I packed a week's worth of underwear and clothes in his suitcase, got ready for the business trip, and then went to sleep. The following day, my husband, who usually has a hard time getting out of bed, got up just as the alarm clock was about to go off and got ready. Good morning. You're awake today, better, aren't you? Of course I am, because I say, and my husband clamors. Because what's wrong? Oh, and I can't keep our clients waiting. I know, it's an important business trip. He smiles and starts eating his breakfast. I was busy getting myself ready for work, feeling a little uncomfortable with my husband's condition. My son woke up silently as usual, ate breakfast, and went to school. It was the same morning as usual. I finished my day's work and went home. I'm home. It would be best if you were hungry. I'm going to prepare dinner now. I know he doesn't answer, but I say this to my son as part of my daily routine. Then, Mother, actually, in his right hand, there was a photograph and a piece of paper that looked like a ticket stub. I was so surprised that my son spoke to me for the first time and called me a mother. I froze for a moment and could not react immediately. "What's wrong, Schmidt?" I answered awkwardly. My son seemed reluctant to speak up. "What's wrong, Schmidt? What's wrong with the picture in your hand?" Then, as if he had made up his mind, he began to speak seriously. "Dad, he's not on a business trip. He's going to see the person in this picture." I was stunned by a story I had never thought of. The woman in this picture is my father's girlfriend. What? I was at a loss for words as I could not believe that Walter was having an affair. My son, perhaps sensing my state of mind, became silent for a while. But in the end, he told me how he felt. "Mom, you should divorce my father because he said that you are the one who can give money. My father told me not to tell my mother that he liked someone. He also told me not to be friends with my mother and that if I did, I would be punished. I don't know why. That's why I couldn't talk to you." My son, in tears, tried his best to talk to me. "Did your father ever tell you that my real mother divorced him because he had someone else she loved?" "Schmidt, your mother didn't follow your father. I wanted to live with my mother, but my father told her if she wanted a divorce, she had to leave me. He said, 'I'll be mean to your mother if you don't say I'm going to live with your father,' so I couldn't go to live with my mother. So that's how it was. Living with my dad was the worst. He never comes home and he takes his lunch at a convenience store every day. He leaves money there and goes to buy it himself." "What? Didn't your father cook for you?" "He told me to do that before I met you. The Walter I knew was a fabrication. He was the type of man I would never like. What's the ticket stub you have with the picture?" "This is the ticket stub from last month's concert. I thought you might not believe me with just a picture, so I brought it along with a picture from my father's bag. Last month you went to Tokyo on a one-day business trip. That was to go to this concert." When I asked my son for more details, he told me that the woman in the photo is a girl who is an underground idol and has a personal relationship with my husband. "Have you been able to see your real mother?" "No, I haven't been able to see my mother because he told me, 'I'm going to be mean to your mom.' My uncle, the lawyer, asked me if I wanted to see my mom, but I lied and said I didn't want to see her. Poor baby, what a terrible thing for your father to do. Hey, would you take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel? Thanks." He took out a piece of paper from his pants pocket and showed it to me. "My real mother gave this to me, but I've been keeping it hidden for a long time without being able to call her." I wrote the number down in my notebook and decided to call the next day. "I'm sorry for calling so suddenly, but this is Walter's wife. Schmidt gave me your phone number and I called you." "Schmidt? Is Schmidt well?" "Yes, he's fine. He misses you." "Me? I thought he didn't like me." "I called you today because I wanted to know something about Walter. Can we meet up with you later?" "Schmidt, he's coming with me. I'll tell you anything I can figure out." "I'm so glad you're bringing Schmidt with you. Thank you so much." Thus, I was able to meet Sophia, his ex-wife, and ask her how the divorce came about and why her husband took their son back. It was a complete lie that the ex-wife had left him for another man. She told me that he was addicted to underground idols and spent most of his salary on them. To top it off, he even started begging his ex-wife for money. When she asked him what he was using the money for, he told her that he was using it to pay tribute to the underground idol, and that he was spending all the money he had saved for his son's future. His ex-wife decided to divorce him and leave home with her son, but at the last minute her son said, "I'm going to live with my dad." And her husband eventually got custody. She said that he was probably after her son's child support. Sophia told me about her son's life with his father before he married me, and she cried because of how awful it was. And I cried too. She said she would go through the mediation process to change his parental rights. I was somewhat relieved that my stepson was so happy to see his birth mother too. I then had 5 days to prepare before my husband returned. I told the company what happened. received a week's paid leave, and called my husband's company. As I suspected, he was not on a business trip but had taken a week of paid leave. I requested a background check on my husband from a credit agency. I asked my lawyer to file for divorce and alimony. The investigation was very speedy, and they said it was straightforward to investigate my husband, who was not cautious. The result was pitch black. He was using his trips as cover to cheat on his wife, passing it off as chasing an idol. After the live concert, they would meet up and go to the hotel where they were staying. On days when he could not meet with his idol, he would go to a cabaret club and spend all his money. He was going as far as he could with his lavish spending. I wondered where he got that kind of money. And then, my stepson moved out to live with his ex-wife. Thank you, Mom, for a year. I enjoyed your meals every day. I really wish we could have been closer. Thank you, too. I'm glad you liked it, too. Thanks for telling me my food tastes good. Please revisit me anytime. Be good to your mother. Thank you so much. My son, who did not miss me at all, is a lovely and considerate boy for such a small boy. I will never forgive Walter for threatening such a child. As I watched their backs, I made up my mind. Just as I was about to close the front door, the movers arrived. I had my husband's belongings packed, removed, and taken to a rental warehouse. As the movers' truck left, the locksmith came to replace the lock. I had the house keys replaced, and all preparations were complete. I decided to go back to my parents' house for a while. All I had to do was wait for my husband to return. Hey, I'm back. You're not at home. I can't open the house. Key, don't tell me you changed the lock. Did something happen? How did you get home? Did you enjoy the concert? Yes, it won't open with the key you have. I am divorcing you. I have left your belongings in a rental warehouse. Your lawyer will contact you later. You will receive the key to the storage unit at that time, and you can look for a new place to live. During the 1-month contract, you can find a new place to live. During that time, then you can contact me through my lawyer. My husband received a devil's phone call. I knew that was to be expected and decided to ignore it. It was too frequent and noisy, so I turned it off. The next day, the lawyer sent a certified letter to my husband's parents' home and to the underground idol with whom he was having an affair. And later, when they came to the lawyer's office, their argument was, I didn't commit adultery. I have no right to ask for a divorce. When the lawyer spread out the photos of the results of the investigation, their momentum dropped dramatically. I had nothing to do with this. If the newspapers get wind of this, we'll be in big trouble. You're the one in the picture on the table, aren't you? You can't get away with this. Wait a minute. This man here will spend a lot of money on me. I will be with him. Well, it's called sugar daring, so it's not adultery. You were over 20 years old and you have a physical relationship with my husband. That's adultery. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Please don't divorce me. He begins to get down on his knees on the floor. I will divorce you. You thought of me from the beginning as nothing more than a moneylender, didn't you? And you lied about the reason for your divorce from your ex-wife. Moreover, you abandoned Schmidt before our marriage. I don't want to be with a man like that. What the hell? You know everything. I'll find someone else. He is saying that I signed the divorce papers in front of me, but he did not sign the alimony papers. I ask you to sign these papers as well. Does this incur alimony? Did I bother Enya because I liked someone other than Enya? Enya was living independently, and there was no problem, was there? No. If you have an affair with another woman while your wife is still married to you, she can file a claim for alimony. What a pain in the ass. I'll have to not report the marriage this time. He signed the alimony document while mumbling, Master, I will pay the alimony. Please keep this matter a secret. I didn't want to get involved in the fuss and wasn't going to tell if I left my husband. But I will add one thing. I will not be involved in any way if rumors spread from other sources. She nodded and signed the papers. I thanked the lawyer and left the office, leaving them alone. I then submitted the divorce papers to the city office, and the divorce was successfully finalized. Deciding to start all over anew, I sold the condominium I had put on the market and used the funds to buy a new one. I started a new life. This was also a precautionary measure to prevent my ex-husband from disturbing me. Vanessa, what do you mean you moved out? It's your apartment, right? About 2 months after our divorce, I received a message out of the blue from my ex-husband. I could have ignored it, but I didn't want to cause trouble for the new tenant, so I decided to respond. I sold it. It's not my apartment anymore. Besides, you're already a stranger. What do you want? No, actually, I'm in a bit of a financial bind, and I was wondering if you could help me out. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no intention of lending you money. Hey, don't be so cold. I was stunned by how easygoing he was, and when I left it alone, I got a ton of phone calls. I set the phone to block incoming calls, and that was the end of it. After the divorce, he was unable to change his lifestyle, so he borrowed money from consumer credit companies and spent it. And in no time at all, his debts had ballooned to tens of millions of yen. He cried to his parents, but his elderly parents could not afford to help him. Before that, they were very furious about the reason for the debt. They were so furious at the reason for the debt that they beat him out of his parents' house. In addition to that, his ex-wife filed for mediation to change custody of their son, and now his son's custody has been given to his ex-wife. I received a long message of tears but ignored reading it. The underground idol with whom she was having an affair seemed to have lost all interest in my ex-husband, who no longer had any money after the divorce, and she disappeared from his life. She also stopped showing up at her usual stage appearances. A weekly magazine wrote that she was caught connecting with a male fan and was forced to quit her office by an angry president. I, on the other hand, enjoy being a single career woman. I think I have had enough of marriage. Since then, I have seen my ex-husband's ex-wife and my stepson about once a month. He's become so bright that I have never seen him before, and I'm very happy for him. Let's conclude our story with a sense of closure and resolution. After enduring the tumultuous journey of discovering betrayal and rebuilding her life, Enya emerged stronger and wiser. With the divorce finalized and her ex-husband's deceit laid bare, she determinedly embraced her newfound independence. Settling into her new condominium, Enya embraced her career with renewed vigor, finding solace in the stability of her professional life. She cherished the monthly meetings with her stepson and his mother, witnessing the blossoming of a bright and happy child who had overcome the shadows of his past. As time passed, Enya found contentment in her single life, relishing the freedom to pursue her passions and dreams without the weight of deceit and mistrust. She learned to forgive but never forget, understanding that closure came not from vengeance, but from letting go of the past and embracing the possibilities of the future. With a heart filled with gratitude for the lessons learned and the strength gained, Enya looked ahead with optimism, knowing that she had the resilience to weather any storm that may come her way. And as she gazed out from the window of her new home, she smiled, knowing that she had finally found peace within herself. Thanks for watching. How did you find the story? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more awesome stories like this. Your feedback and support mean a lot.